I'm Tim Adkins, and this is your daily headlines for Wednesday, September 14th, 2021. Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley, is embroiled in controversy after a recent preview of a book by famed Washington Post journalist Bob Woodward reveals he engaged in secret talks with the Chinese government. On 2 occasions, the general spoke with his Chinese counterpart in China to reassure them that the U.S. military was not planning to attack China. The first call occurred on October 30th, just a few days before the presidential election. That call was instigated by intelligence reports that indicated China was fearing that an attack by the U.S. military was imminent based on tensions rising over Chinese naval operations going on in the South Pacific and Trump's continued hostile rhetoric towards China. The second call was placed just 2 days after the January 6 riot at the Capitol, in an attempt to again calm the fears of the Chinese government that the American democracy was not on the verge of collapse. President Biden has given his support of the general following the revelations and says that he has great confidence in General Milley. Earlier, the president's press secretary, Jen Psaki, had indicated the president was not concerned by the revelations, saying, quote, "They've worked side by side through a range of international events," Psaki said, "and the president has complete confidence in his leadership, his patriotism, and his fidelity to our Constitution," unquote. Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump has said recently that he doubts Milley did what the book claims, but if he did, it would be treason. It should be noted that the crime of treason is only applicable during a time when the U.S. is in a state of war. California Governor Gavin Newsom has handily won the recall election, defeating an effort by conservatives in the state to remove him from office. Critics of the governor were banking on public disapproval over the governor's handling of the pandemic, but exit polling showed there just wasn't enough disapproval to carry the day, or at least the alternative seemed to be worse in voters' minds. The polling indicates only 30% of California voters agreed Newsom's pandemic policies were too strict, which was the main argument that spurred the recall. Nearly 70% support the state's mask mandates for students, while only 24% said the pandemic was getting worse in the state. Newsom's main rival in the recall effort was Larry Elder, a black conservative talk radio host. Larry Elder spoke to his supporters in a concession speech he gave around 10 p.m. Pacific time when it became apparent what the results of the election would be. In a speech before supporters, Elder said, quote, "Let's be gracious in defeat. We may have lost the battle, but we are going to win the war," unquote. The U.S. Justice Department is seeking an emergency order to block the recent Texas abortion law. The Justice Department filed an emergency order late Tuesday indicating that the new law, known as SB 8, which bans abortions where a fetal heartbeat can be detected, prevents women from exercising their constitutional rights. The new law is controversial for a variety of reasons, none the least of which is that it empowers private citizens to sue in private litigation those who they believe are guilty of aiding others in receiving an abortion or even transporting a person to where they can obtain a legal abortion. Critics say that the law is so fraught with legal issues it is not likely to withstand challenges in the Supreme Court, conservative majority notwithstanding. Most recently, however, the court simply refused to take up the case and allowed a lower court ruling to stand, keeping the law in place temporarily. As always, we'll keep you posted as these stories develop and more. I'm Tim Adkins, and we'll see you tomorrow. This has been your Daily Headline News.